inclusive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. That line in the Constitution is being carried out by Bitcoin, not by guns, not by militia, not by so-called domestic violent extremists. It is a silent revolution.
Yeah, of course. See, that's what happens.
Yeah.
That happens when you're doing the show live.
That was hilarious. No, yeah. So, yeah, I can answer that question. Yeah. So, like, value for value, like, sort of. I got into music a long time ago, and I started performing professionally. You know, like recording my songs and like registering with like rights organizations back in like 2016. And I kind of got wind of Bitcoin kind of around the same time, but didn't get really as into it as I am now. But you know, I realized there was this thing called value for value, like 3 years ago or so, and I found the Kansas City Bitcoiners, the KC Bitcoiners, and I joined their group, and you know, I started learning about like, you know, Lightning. You know, Lightning was coming out and doing their thing, and I realized that like value for value is like a way to actually give real value to artists and creators in a like a real time way where there's no mediator or middleman or someone that's gonna, you know, take a 90% cut and the artist has to split 10%, you know, 8 ways or whatever. And so that's kind of where I kind of came into it. And so then I was kind of trying to discover, you know, so what does that look like if we were going to bring an industry into that? And so I've been, ever since like 3 years ago, I've been experimenting and like trying every possible way to make a payment go through. I mean, I've done live payments on like projection screens. I've done it through phones. I've done it through on paper. So I'm just trying to figure out all the different ways that like don't work, so that when it's finally adopted by the mainstream, it's like we've, you know, what you call like trim the fat. And so, I mean, that's really it in a nutshell. And now I'm just kind of like super excited about it, trying to find ways to like make music happen. And so I think music using value for value is a great way to create more value for artists. Like that's like my tagline: create more value for artists. And I think value for value is like a really cool way where you can tip an artist directly, kind of like, you know, Twitch. It's like Twitch streaming. You know, you throw tips at somebody while they're live streaming. Well, here's Bitcoin, and it's got no you know, it's got no middleman, so we can go wallet to wallet. It's like I can literally send you right now. I could send you, you know, 2,000 sats instantaneously, and there's not a damn thing anyone can do about that. And that's what's really cool about it, is there's no bank to say you can't do it. I don't have to call my bank and be like, yo, why aren't you open right now? You know?
Definitely something
So
special about that for sure, dude. Like just the ability to
mhm.
like not limit speech, because really at the end, Bitcoin is just free speech. Bitcoin is just another form of language, you know.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to get into like the concept of like of like music, I mean, Bitcoin is also what's called a time chain, and so like we're in real time re-revolutionizing the music industry and royalties and publishing, and so imagine, like you can like we kind of came up with this concept. I guess I'm giving this for free, but like we kind of came up with this concept at a meeting for KC Bitcoiners, where it's like you can create a song, and then uh, you could inscribe it into the time chain at a certain block, and so you have put that inscription there, so you can claim it, you can own it, and then you can create all this data. You put data together and say like, song title, album title, creator, split goes this way, split goes that way, split goes that way. And then you could hash that data. And within that data, you can put in like an inpub. And so there's a lot of cool ways that you like an inpub to like a Noster. So there's a lot of cool ways where you can like intertwine all these different technologies that are all open source with Bitcoin. Um, but then like I think the next level of like value for value in music is authentication and like authorship, like who actually owns it and how do you verify that, and how do you verify that without a centralized source. And so I guess the centralized source would really be the time chain, but still, I mean, it's the whole open source ecosphere is always in conflict with the old school music industry. And so like there's still going to be copyrights, there's still going to be rights organizations. So um I don't want to call anyone out, but without naming names, it's like we're always going to be butting heads and having this discourse on like, well, music industry developed for 150 years and Bitcoin is developed for less than that, or maybe, who knows. But so we're right in this moment of like transition to this new digital economy and a new, like essentially like freedom, freedom money, where we can actually like transact in a free way, but also give value freely to what we think deserves value. I think that's really cool, but there's also going to be conflict with the old school music industry. So like that's kind of where I'm at. That's why I'm in Nashville right now. Is like I'm doing my show. I'm producing a show September 20th, and so the whole idea is to introduce the idea of like value transfer using Bitcoin in the music industry to like the old school music industry. Be like, yo, y'all need to check this out because there's new technologies out there. So I mean,
Um,
that's
so you have how long in the music industry now? Like you just grew up in it, or I mean, can you give us a background on that?
um well, I graduated college from University of Kansas in 2009. Should have been 2008, but I took a year off and then I came back. I was like, screw it, I'm gonna finish this. So 2009, I graduated, and on my graduation day was the first like real show in like a venue that I produced. I had been producing house concerts and stuff for a while in 2009, 2008, so between 2006 to 2008. I played live shows around then. But 2009 is when I decided to go into business, and I created something called John Doe Records. And I tried to make value for like my friends, and like, they got records, they got songs, but I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I didn't I wanted to make them money. I wanted to make them money, but I didn't know how. And I was like, so it's like the underpants gnomes. It's like steal underpants, profit, you know? So like it's like have friends bands, give them shows, profit. It was just like there was no business plan in place. And so that kind of fizzled out. So then I created something called John Doe Media, which is more like creating media, like just being there, being present, putting music in spaces, like creating shows, doing like promotion, marketing, PR, like going to festivals, conferences, and just telling people about the next thing. Like this is the next thing. And so that's kind of like where my background came from. And then, started writing songs in like 2000 uh, 2004. Yeah, like graduated high school 2003, 2004. Started writing songs for my girlfriend at the time, and then yeah, just like this whole idea of like doing a music label came out of that. And so between 2009 to now, it's just a big old freaking blur. I don't know what the hell's been going on. So now I'm here, and now it's like, okay, so here's this new technology, value for value. Here's Bitcoin. So there's different platforms that have come out. Like, well, there's this one main platform that's come out where you can put your music onto it. Some of the main features of it are, I think, conflict with old school values of the music industry. So they also conflict with like the core values of Bitcoin, where it's like we should be able to opt in to tipping openly. If a song is playing, we should be able to opt in to give value to that song. So one of these platforms, you can't tip from the outside straight into the player. So if you're playing a song, you can't tip unless you log in.
All bad.
And so, well, yeah, I mean, like that concept is all bad, but like the idea that you can like put your song on the platform and that people can immediately play it. If they have an account, they can tip you. That's cool. But like, we need to fix the idea that like you need to tip in. So the next
to me, it's
level,
like it's like a stolen valor like scenario where it's like, well, Bitcoin already does that, and you're taking that, and then you're charging people like what? And
it's
I get it.
Yeah,
it's like
trying
the
to
Apple,
centralize it.
Yeah, it's the Apple way of doing things where it's like, okay, well, we're gonna charge you for the convenience. Fucking Apple, dude. Anyways, sorry to interrupt. Keep going.
Yeah. I listened to that one podcast that you guys are talking about that stuff. I was just cracking up while I was driving across the country. It's so funny. But yeah. So then there's like the whole podcasting 2.0 thing, and at first I was like, I'm not getting any tips in here. So then I started sending, putting, sending a song, like sending like, I don't, it's really funny because like, the platform that we're talking about, it's like you put your song on that platform, you give your content to them, and then they play it. But in this other type of open source value for value podcasting 2.0 is you give your song to the database, and then everyone's app or everyone's like, what do you call it? Like everyone's, I don't know, it's like you can pull from that database and you can create
their server. Basically, everybody's storing your stuff on their servers. Or what do you mean?
Yeah. No, like what do you call it when you like create a
instance?
It's like if you like LN Beats or like Fountain or like
app, basically.
Yeah, let's just fucking call it an app for easy because I've been driving all day long. I'm tired. My mind doesn't work anymore. But so like then you can have all these different apps, and so like you can program your own protocols to pull from this database, and then you can pull this data, like an RSS feed data, into your like app essentially. And then it's like if you want other people to use your app, you can be like, yo, we're using this app. This app's pretty cool. But what's cool about it is like we're creating the opportunity to give value in an open source environment. And rather than your tip, like Spotify, like rather than your tip going to like Spotify,
correct,
to DistroKid, to Bank of America, to your account, it's like we're going straight from. So like,
and everybody takes a cut on the way.
Yeah, so like on the Boostergram ball podcasting thing that the playlist that they've been creating right now is like, I got my song on there. I sent the email. I said, hey, I'm really into this. I think this is great. Could you please play my song? They played the song, and then I can open my wallet on my phone, or I can open my Get Albie on the internet, and I can see it in real time. Like I'm getting 30 sats, 1,000 sats, 200 sats, 50 sats, but people have the choice to give what they think that content should deserve and value, and like that concept is truly revolutionary. And so to build on that is like the next wave. I mean, the whole idea of like Lightning and open source tipping, it's still a little bit clunky, and it's hard to navigate. But I think since I've been engaging with it now, I think I'm starting to understand why it's better than a centralized source for open source content rather than
right now that you said, you were just talking, I see the example of like a person playing on a street corner, right? And it's like they're not charging anybody for music, but they're just getting these tips from everybody coming by. And some guy might give you 20, some guy might give you 5, some guy might give you 50 cents, the change out of his pocket or whatever. But it's like people actually, somebody gives you something, that's great, right? Because it's like you're moving somebody to at least fucking take that. Like, that's just basically energy. Money is just energy spent working, to hold portable power. And they're just throwing it in your bucket or whatever, man. And it's like, I love, I tip anytime somebody's playing on the side of the sun. So this it just came to me right now, right when you were talking.
Well, think about this. Let me give you this other content. This other like bit of content here is like, this is a real freeform thought that I had the other day, where it's like Bitcoin value for value monetizes free content. So like you can have content, you can put content out there and you can make it free, but Bitcoin gives you the ability to monetize that so that you can actually like gain this like freedom money to like be able to like transact across borders. So it's like I can send my song to somebody in Zimbabwe and they can love this song so much. They may not have Spotify or all that other stuff, but through the digital age and technology, they're able to hear and stream the data, and they can tip that through Bitcoin. Bitcoin enables this. And so like through all these borders, they don't have to have a credit card. They don't have to have a bank account. They can just send me this like digital ID of ownership, and they can exchange that to me. And then also with value or with Lightning, it's all like Bitcoin inception. So it's just like, and it all happens in the cloud in a way.
That's great that you said that, because I was just saying that the other day, because I'm like, I was doing this thing. We're doing like a little charity for the Lahaina Maui stuff, and I had this old address that I kept sending it, but I didn't have it on any of my dashboards. So I was like, where is this money coming from? It's like Bitcoin inception. It's just, I'm sending myself the money, and it's just like I'm paying somebody some fee somewhere.
Yeah, so Ellen Beats is one of the ones that I've been really using lately a lot. I really like it. But still there's like, I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to learn.
Tell me how you use it. Because truth be told, I just started using that like 2 days ago, and I was like, why haven't I? Because I've heard it all the time, but I thought it was just another like protocol. Or I didn't even know what I thought. It was just one of those things you kind of like whatever. And then this whole Stephen B freaking chat on Telegram, man, like that's where it's at for sure.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I was trying not to do a bunch of name dropping shit. I'm just trying.
Shout out to Stephen B though. Nah, those are the guys that are doing it, dude. Like. And I don't know, he replied to me one time, he's like, yeah, he's like, oh, I'm a sheet metal worker, right, by trade, mechanic, I'm just whatever, just a regular guy. And then
you sheet metal, that's cool.
Yeah, so I just like music, cool. I play guitar, I used to play guitar or whatever, I'm a little rusty, but that's the whole thing. It's like I got a bunch of musician friends that I know, and I'm like trying to get them in on this stuff, and that's why I'm like I wanted to interview you. It's like, well, what got you into this? Maybe we can sprinkle some of that on these friends to
Mm-hmm.
to get
Well,
them on the value
like
train.
really, like he is really the like sort of like he's created like something really really special. The thing is like we're trying to integrate people's you know fuck, I'm trying to think of what you call it. It's driving me fucking nuts. But it's
Values
oh
of
well.
sorts.
No, like what is another word for app? Your client. Okay, so
Okay.
yeah, server client server. So like call you know podcasting 2.0 database list, whatever. Call that your server, and then everyone can create clients. So like LM Beats is like a client. So like you go on LM Beats, right, and it's like let's say you use it in like on Internet Explorer, and so you type in like I got a song called "Cheaters Never Win," and it's like so I put up ChrisKCBtcYolo. Cheaters Never Win. Actually, it's a different name, but um you know you put it in, plug it in, and then in that browser window that pulls from the Podcasting 2.0 database. Okay, so from the Podcasting 2.0 database, I don't know if I'm just explaining this to like if like if
No,
you
I'm
already know
listening,
it.
dude. No, this is great because it's like that's why I want to talk to you because like we're all just stumbling around here, just trying to figure this out too. Like, and it's
Yeah.
all changing constantly. So whatever we
Oh,
knew last
that
week is gonna change next week, and it's just like
bro,
okay, let's learn it again.
that's the thing is like this is happening right now. That's
Mm-hmm.
what's so exciting about this is like we're caught in the middle of like a revolution happening, and like it's like the whole music industry has happened for 150 years, and here we are in this transition period where we don't know exactly how it's going to look in like 150 years from now, but we know like how to like set it straight, like how to guide it, and like people like Stephen Bell have like created these incredible ways of distributing this content, but also like aggregating it. And so like we have, so you create your content. So like for me, like I create an MP3, and then I have a website, so I'll upload my MP3 to FTP onto a website or like a database or like a server, and then you create an RSS feed. And so there's also the music. I can't name drop right now, but there's like ways of creating your RSS feed.
Correct.
Music side project is what it is.
Correct.
And so like so you can create, and I mean you can literally like with your keyboard you can draft it up like that. But like it's fun
Did you
to
have a
use
website
these.
already before that?
What do you mean?
Did you already have a website before you started doing this value for value stuff, or like
I have.
WordPress site
I,
or whatever?
I have. I've created websites since back in the day, but like I kind of got like pulled into the whole uh what do you call it? Content management system way where it's like Squarespace,
Oh, okay.
shit like that,
I
where
mean,
it's
it
Squarespace
works.
Wix, where it does it all for you.
Yeah.
Well, what I discovered is you can't upload a freaking XML file to just straight to your Squarespace site and then link to it. You can't create a link to your XML file. They won't let you do that. They want to have total control. And so that shit pisses me off. So you have to
That's
create
how they
like
do
your
it,
own.
man. That's how they get you.
That's how they get you.
That's how they get you.
Well, so that's what you do. You upload your podcast, and then you can submit it to the Podcasting 2.0 database. And
So,
so from there, your song is now listed, or your RSS feed is now listed, or your song really is listed in this database. So then all these clients that people have created apps like LN Beats, well, Wavelake has its own fucking way of doing it, but like LM Beats, Fountain, CurioCaster, uh, Breeze, I guess, like all these ones that can find your Podverse, that can find your feed. You just plug that into your client. You just say, and then it can pull from that. So like this group of people using this client, this group of people using this client, this group of people using this client. I see that as like and like to philosophize it. I kind of see that as sort of a conflict because if you want to onboard the whole like old school music industry, they're first of all they're not going to know how to do those feeds. So I'm kind of creating a label again. Like now I know how to create value for artists. Now I do. Now I know how to do it, and I can tell you how to do it, and I can show you how to do it. I can do it for you. And so now I'm creating a label to be like, all right, this is the way. This is the absolute way. And then, um, you know, um, so then like Wavelake is fucking cool, but like there's certain things that like need to be installed in there. Like you have to be able to tip from the outside. You can't just keep it as like just login only and then you can tip because that's not Bitcoin. It's not Bitcoin. You can't, especially you're going to get shut down by the music industry if you allow a song to be played over and over and over and over and over without being able to be monetized. You're going to get shut down by that. So
Do
I
you?
think,
Sorry to interrupt.
yeah,
Do you listen to Bowl
that's all
After
right.
Bowl? Do you listen to those guys? Because they were kind of talking
Well,
about it the other day, and I made a little clip about it, about the Wave Lake. It's just issues, and it was just
oh, did they talk about it?
yeah. I made a clip on it on Fountain FM, and we're just like and nobody's ragging on the Wave Lake. You know what I mean? Like
No, no, we're
I
not
like I
ragging. We're
like
just
the
trying to make
service.
things.
I definitely like the service. Better than not having it because it makes it easier
Exactly.
for people that don't know anything to just dip their toes in the water and then artists that don't know anything about self-hosting or anything like that. But definitely I like to promote self-hosting overall over everything because that way the artist literally controls their music. They own the rights to their music. And
Agreed.
yeah, what brought me to learn about Value for Value was like physical art, not music art. But I respect both music as well. So that's kind of the thing where I was working at. And then that's why I'm kind of like that's why I'm doing a visual show as well. Like Adam, like all these people, they hate visual stuff. They just want to do audio,
Really?
and I get it. I got
That's
the
awesome.
face of a freaking radio guy.
Oh, you look good, man. No, you
so
look
no,
good.
so it's just like for me, it's like, well, why not just do the video, just tackle that step too. You know what I mean? And then I was telling those guys, Stephen B, I was like, dude, do a QR. So like right now, I could have a little QR on your screen, and I could because OBS just sets it up no problem, and that way you can
Yeah,
get
I see
paid.
the sentiment right there.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool. No, I think that's cool. Also, like imagine like having a live concert, like having a show, and
Correct. Yes.
you have
Yes.
like
That's what.
first of all you have like you have your QR code up on like stage or whatever, but imagine like having a QR code on like the TVs, and then you have like little clips playing all the different bands, and it's like this next band is gonna be this, and then if you want to tip them before the show, here, throw them a tip here, and then everyone they're like people in the band. You can set up a split, what they're calling a prism. So you can set up a split. So you send them that tip live in the bar, and then it's just like send it here, and then people in the band look at their phones like ding 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 ding, and you're like split three ways. And it's just like
It
the
already
way that you can.
works. It already works. That's the cool part.
Yeah. No,
It does. It's
yeah.
just that.
Spencer for Bowl After Bowl, he's a KC Bitcoiner. So like me and him, that's who I actually. I'll tell you. Fuck what? Like, me and Spencer like have gone head to head on like our concepts of like philosophizing music industry and all this stuff, and like we've had it out at like um Bitcoin meetups and whatnot, but like we were like in the original chat talking about like what is this going to look like, and then Michael Reed and like what's his name, I can't remember, but they create, and like Lightning Store, I guess, but they created a wave like thing. And so i think I think it's cool, I think it's great, but like you know like I said, like we need to be able to tip from the outside, and like I
Yeah, I
think
was on
being
that
in
shit, dude. When they first came out, I was on that shit, dude. I was just like, hey, excuse me,
yeah, but
yeah,
I
you
get
better
it.
stick
I
with
mean,
the
it is cool
ethos.
to
You know what I
have.
mean? Like, it's just one of those things. I mean, and they provide service. I get that. Not,
Yeah, I'm not gonna harp on it.
yeah,
It is great to have that service, and also, so like I'll say another thing about it that's really freaking cool is when you upload your song, it goes straight to like the new
uh,
song list right on the front page
podcast index. It's
instantaneously.
podcast index actually. That it's going to. That the way I
Really?
describe podcastindex.org is like a Rolodex for the old schoolers. I'm like, you guys remember Rolodexes, right? Where you just roll and you pick the here's this guy, here's Chris KC. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of like it's just the Rolodex of music, and you just go through the music and like, oh, okay, bam, this is his address. Send him some money, and it's just it does all the invoicing for you instantly, automatically. Everybody gets paid. And that's, like I said, what brought me to this whole value for value with music was the physical. Like, let's say I sell a piece of artwork, right? And it's like, oh, I want to get Chris was the artist, but I'm the guy that sold the artwork. So I want to take my cut and then just shoot the other value to Chris, right? So it's like that's the way I was looking at it. And then now I'm seeing like this whole music thing. It's exactly what I'm talking about. So this is just
Yeah.
one aspect, I think, and in the future there will be multiple different aspects of value for value. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we need to. I think we as like kind of like the. I don't want to say like the. You know, Bitcoin is about staying humble, stacking sats, and all that. But like, if you're at the forefront of an industry and you're creating these ideas, like we need to make sure that we keep it like simple, but also like Bitcoiner friendly, and not run away with these stupid ideas that create custody situations along the way. You know, it's like keep it like Bitcoin, and keep it like try and simplify it. Like just you know, that's I mean that's not coming from me. You know, like there's a guy and another guy in our Bitcoiner, dude, the KC Bitcoiner group, geniuses all around. People are freaking geniuses. But there's another guy I've been working with who I came up with this concept, and like we were creating um, the idea of like split payments like for like musicians. Like I was coming up with the idea of split payment for musicians, and then I got I got into the back end of Ibex Hub. I got introduced to that by Rye of Ibex Mercado, Ibex Pay or something. Who fucking knows? Um, and uh, then our guy in KC Bitcoiners, he's asking me like, "How did you do that? Like, what did you use?" And like, you know, I don't fucking know. It just
It
I just
works.
did. Yeah.
RSS. I used RSS.
And then so then he just like in a day, he just like conjures up this JavaScript split payout like thing. Just like, and he puts it in our chat, and I'm like, what the fuck? And then literally, like a month later, there's like an article published that's like, hey guys, check out this like Prism thing, and now you can split payouts and all that stuff. And it's like, yeah, we've been like, you can do that, and then you can also do that with just RSS feeds. Like it's actually pretty simple. And so that's the idea. Is like I want to try and keep it simple, but like obviously, like if you're providing a service like Wavelake I'm using Wavelake as an example. If you're providing a service, you know they take that 10% of your RSS feed and they control the RSS. But like if they're controlling the RSS, then they control ownership of your content essentially. So they're just another, you know, like if you can't tip from the outside, then it's kind of like they're like SoundCloud. They're SoundCloud with Bitcoin until you but there's SoundCloud
So
until you log in.
it
Then
boi-
you're SoundCloud with Bitcoin.
it boils down to where do you host your music, right? That's what took me a while. I was spinning in circles, and even now I still use Transistor, which doesn't allow you to modify your RSS feed, which is a big no in podcasting 2.0 because you got to add the value, timestamps and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So where'd you end up hosting your stuff at?
Well, I don't.
You want to say? You don't dox your hosting?
Well,
It's gonna slow it down.
no, that's just another conversation. Honestly,
Gotcha.
there's so much stuff going on. Well, the first song that
You're on Wavelake.
the first song that I hosted, I went to Wavelake only because I'm trying. Like I'm going. This is my concept. I'm going out to in. I'm trying to figure out what's cool about this. Why is everybody using it? What doesn't work about it? What do people like about it? What do people don't like about it? What do I like about it? So I like to use the service, break it down, like just pick at it, and then see where it doesn't work, and then see why someone is arguing this other thing is cooler. So I'm like, all right, let's use that other thing. So then I created some like RSS feeds, but Squarespace doesn't fucking work. So so that's that really. Squarespace doesn't work. So actually, one of the ChrisKCBtcYolos actually helped me. I don't know if I should say his name, but like Bull After Bull helped me.
Yeah. You could dox his ass.
So
he doesn't already have a podcast.
Yeah, so Bull After Bull is like he's hosting one of my songs until I can
that's cool.
I have the time to create my own.
That's great because it's a freaking pain in the butt. But it's not. But it is. But it's you basically just have to pay for it, right? Where it's like, okay.
Yeah, I mean,
there's
ways. There's ways. It's just I've been driving across the country right now, and it's like I haven't had time to do anything. I'm tired as hell, and like,
no, you're good.
But promoting the hell out of it, like, is key. If you're hosting your song open source podcast index, you gotta promote the fuck out of your song. You gotta send it to playlists. You gotta have people play it. And then also, if your content sucks, no one's gonna tip it. So you gotta have good content. And like, you can have shitty content and make it good, but like in the music world, you gotta have a good song, and it starts with a song. And so I think that's where we're coming together, and where I'm at in Nashville right now. It's like I'm gonna come to the music industry and say, guys, you got good songs. Check out this new way of hosting, of distribution. Like, try Bitcoin, try value for value. Like, and if you want help, John Media will help. Bull After Bull will teach you. Well, everyone will teach you. Just get in the chat, ask questions. Go on Twitter.
Hell yeah.
People will teach you how to do it.
Just note that we're less than a minute here, probably a few couple seconds here.
I see 15 seconds.
There you go. No, that's a great words to end it on, man. Thank you for coming on Defend the Network, Chris. And
well, Bobby Rat Boys are squared by big shit.
You know it's gonna crash.
Canceling this is extremely dangerous. We're big.
Bitches in the future?
This is Wheel of Fortune, y'all!
Bitcoin is the future.
Cultish fucking psychopaths, fake but they recycle that. Flood us with these lies, we ignore it, then we cycle back. To this anchor, we are called a time chain, a mind spray. In this rabbit hole so deep, we wired up our time frame. We just call it time preference, started with divine presence. Immaculate conception, shit posting is perfection. Dunking on central bankers, modern day money changes. Throw 'em out the temple, got no use for they paper.
Got no use for they paper.
Paper.
Got no use for they paper.
Modern day
Money changes. Money.